Our small business owners in Lephalale in Limpopo say the tapering down of construction at the Medupi Power Station has led to a drastic decline in the town's economy. The business chamber in the province says this has led to several social ills such as drug abuse, crime and prostitution. The business chamber hopes that today's budget speech will speak to measures that will make it easy for informal sector small businesses to have access to state funding. SABC video journalist Hulisani Livhebe and reporter Pimani Baloyi join us from Malamulele substation, where the Limpopo Business Chamber is preparing to host a small business conference tomorrow. Pimani, a very good morning to you. What have been the impacts of the scaling down of work at the power station?
Good morning, Desiree. Indeed, as you stated in the intro, we were in Lephalale for the past 2 days and we have been speaking to locals and business owners in that small town. Our viewers might recall Lephalale is the place where the Medupi Power Station has been built, and it also had the Medupi Power Station, both Eskom big power stations that contribute to the national power grid are located in that area. And what we learned from locals, you might recall, Desiree, in August last year, the last unit at Medupi was it started contributing to the national power grid. It was construction was completed, and locals in the area are saying since August last year, many businesses, small businesses specifically, have had to shut their doors because most of them did business with Medupi. But right now that there is no construction happening, there's just a few workers who work to keep the power station running, which means that a lot of locals are out of work, a lot of businesses are out of work. And as we spoke to the locals and these business owners, they told us that they hope that government is looking at that area, that it has a lot of infrastructure that already exists there, that they could work towards making sure that there's employment of both business and employment opportunities for them. But Desiree, as you rightfully stated, we are coming to you live from outside a substation, an Eskom substation in Malamulele town, where we are joined by the president of the Limpopo Business Chamber, Mr. Albert Jeleni. Mr. Jeleni, before we get into Medupi and other issues, what are you expecting today from Minister Godongwana's budget speech?
Good day, and thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you. In terms of our expectation, you will remember that the budget speech, it is meant to action the SONA. So our expectation flow from the promises that the president has made during the SONA, and two key issues that he has made with regards to business. Number one, he indicated that we must lead the creation of jobs. Number two, he indicated that they are to review regulations around business. Now we have formulated our expectations around that, and we have got three expectations. Expectation number one is budget towards enabling transformation in South Africa. Number two is budget that is going to make sure that there is stability in South Africa. Number three is budget that's going to ensure that there isn't a burden of administration on small businesses. When we talk about transformation itself, and I'll link it to job creation, if we do not transform our economy, it means that we are letting fewer people be the ones who are creating the jobs. And for me, jobs are like fruits in a tree. If you need more jobs, you must plant more trees. And what's happening in South Africa is that we have got minority being the ones that are owning big businesses. Government must set aside money to make sure that smaller businesses, and particularly black-owned businesses, can get into the stock exchange. Rural areas as well can participate in the economy. We're also looking at the government to make sure that they can put budget for skills development. We have seen in the past that the government has been working very hard through the SETA, but there was no partnership with private sector. We expect government to put some money to make sure that they can enable partnership with the private sector. We're also expecting government to make sure that we can lead in terms of enterprise development. What's happening now is that government was leading, but our understanding, if we are to create jobs, we must lead because we need to be innovative and competitive. Looking at the issues of stability, One of the issues that we need to make sure that it's corrected is the issue of Eskom. When we look at the electricity supply in the past of couple of years, it's not stable at all. We're expecting some budget to go towards that. The second area there is the issue of service delivery. Most of the municipalities are struggling to provide service. It makes it difficult for us as business people to do our business. And then when we look at the issue of the burden towards small businesses in particular, we're expecting the government to really reduce the tax burden on the smaller businesses. What we expect them to do is either maybe to tax the bigger companies even more. We're expecting them to actually do away with some of the compliance that smaller businesses need to get into. In terms of UIF, they can actually subsidize that. So those are some of the things that we're expecting from the minister.
Talking about power supply, Limpopo is known to have this massive, newly built by this democratic government, Medupi Power Station. But we went there yesterday. Locals are saying the tapering down in construction has led to a decline in opportunities, employment as well as business. As the business chamber, what would you want the minister to say regarding specifically Lephalale and the infrastructure that is already existing there?
We could have said from the beginning that the manner in which Medupi was implemented, because there was no involvement of private sector, what's happening today was bound to happen. What was supposed to be done then, they're supposed to have declared what we call catalytic projects that would have enabled us as businesses to come and do business in that area. And what we're expecting now is that business must declare certain projects in that area that will enable us to come and invest. It may be that they declare something in the area of green energy. It's something that we as private business, we can come in and co-generate electricity with government.
And this is one of those massive infrastructure. Do you expect the minister to talk to it about reviving that economy?
Actually, it will be very ignorant to ignore the fact that Medupi, it's one of the first big projects that we had to do as a country, and particularly for Eskom. And the money that was planted into that area, if we do not do anything, it's going into a loss. But what will be more sad is that Lephalale itself, the Lephalale municipality, is the one that will be expected to pick up the pieces. And there is no way it can afford to cater for the development and the people that are in Lephalale without extra development that must be brought.
And Mr. Jeleni, as we wrap, tell me about this conference that you'll be hosting tomorrow.
Tomorrow we're going to be taking time as the private sector to reflect on the SONA as well as the budget speech. You will know that from the parliament point of view, they have done their part, they've reflected on the SONA. But we believe that as a private sector, we must sit, deliberate on it and give government meaningful inputs. One of the things that we want to do from there is to craft an action plan to be able to help government implement the SONA in the budget speech.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jeleni. That is the president of the Limpopo Business Chamber, Mr. Albert Jeleni, telling us about their plans regarding today's budget. Desiree, I'll hand back to you in studio.